I went whitewater rafting, fell out, and then got stuck under the raft. Let's get into it. Interesting things in my life. I've jumped out of airplanes. I was in the Navy. I went scuba diving. And I've had some near-death experiences. This is one of those experiences. So my buddy, Bob, calls me up and says, hey, let's go whitewater rafting. And I'm thinking, I like adventure. I like to do things. I don't always, especially back in the day, I didn't think things through all the way. I definitely did not think this one through. So to go whitewater rafting when you live in Ohio, you have to go down to the New River. It goes through Kentucky, West Virginia. I forget exactly where we landed. I think it was the New River Gorge or something like that. So, but you camp. That's the deal. You just don't show up for an afternoon and take a trip down the river and go home. You show up the night before. You pitch a tent. You have a bonfire. You have some social. You get to talk. So when we're there at this campground and we're getting settled, the reality of what I chose to do hit me. It was like, oh, when we get up tomorrow morning, I'm going to get into a river. I've never even been around white water before. I don't know anything about this. Then I'm hearing people tell stories of other times they went whitewater rafting and how fun some of those stories sounded, but also how scary they sounded. I'm like, this seems like a really big deal. Like this, we didn't just sign up for a cruise down the river. We signed up to like do some life-changing, life-altering, like big-time scary things. So the anxiety is starting to settle in a little bit as we're sitting around the campfire. And then I'm hearing these stories. So I started asking questions. Now, the group of guys I went with, really, I only know one guy and his friends. So I don't really know the rest of them. And they're telling stories. But as I start asking questions, I'm asking these questions in kind of a way like, my chest is getting tight. Do you fall? Can you fall out of the raft? What happens then? You know, well, they're picking up on it. They're picking up on that this is my first time and I'm nervous. So they start feeding into that and telling me things that sound horrible. I'm almost feeling like I don't want to do this anymore. Like I'm like, I want to tap out, but getting my mind set, don't want to be embarrassed. I'm going to tough this out a little bit. So we get up the next morning and we get on this bus and we've got our swim shoes and shorts and just the basics to go to the river. And we get there and there's this guy with like all these instructors. No, guides. That's what these people are. They're guides. They work for the company. They're going to be in the back. They're going to steer the raft and help the rest of us get down the river. And I'm looking at all of these guides and they're like, these people look like they grew up on the river and they've raised their kids on the river. Like this I feels a lot better. And so they're assigning guides to groups of people and they're unloading rafts and it's all kind of busy. And then we get our guide. Our guide is younger than me. And I'm 18 years old. He's a kid. He's a freaking kid. He is like a skinny little kid. And I just lost all of my confidence in the whole world. I'm like, what? What? You are our guide? I'm like, how many times have you done this? He's from that area, had the southern accent. Well, I don't know, I guess. I mean, I grew up swimming in this river. I'm like, that's not good enough. No, that's not going to do it. So he kind of just dismisses me a little bit and gets us organized into this bigger group. The group that's getting in the raft. Now remember, all the guys, they already know I'm nervous. And they're having fun with it. The instructor, the kid, he's catching on that I'm nervous and that everybody else is having a little fun with it. So he decides that he wants to join the fun. So he gives us our basic instructions. Okay, everybody, when we get into the raft, everybody's going to have an oar. When I say paddle, you paddle. If I say paddle right, guys on the right will paddle right. Same for the thing on the left. And I'm like, okay, yeah, this all makes sense. Okay. Well, we get in the raft and we start paddle. Everybody paddle. And of course, where we get in, the rapids are mild. They're going to warm us up to it. But I don't know these rapids are mild. I don't know what to compare it to. These rapids look huge to me. They're not ripples. There's a lot of commotion going on. And we're moving toward it. And I'm looking and I'm like, whew. They can tell I'm scared. These rapids are actually so small, you could go through them without paddling at all. It would just bump you around a little bit and wash you into some smooth water. I don't know any of this. I'm scared. I'm terrified. So there's a part where these rapids just go over this little tiny little waterfall thing, okay? And it's between two rocks. This kid's done this so many times. He's not told me he's done it so many times, but he has. He's really good, actually. So we're paddling, and he's doing the thing. And he says, in the middle of drifting down the river, heading toward what I think are monstrous rapids, he says, uh-oh. I'm like, uh-oh? What's uh-oh? Everybody stop paddling. We pull our oars out of the water. He takes control. He spins us around. So now we're drifting backwards. I'm like, what's happening? He says, I can't get this thing right. We're going right between these big rocks over this little waterfall, which is honestly, now I get it. Not a big deal. At the time, I am now more terrified. I want to run away, but I can't jump out. So he's drifting, and I'm holding on. Like, what's happening? We go over this thing backwards, bumpity bump, out into smooth water. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel like we almost died. And everybody is like, what? That wasn't even real rapids. I'm like, it gets worse than that. Like, oh, buddy, it's going to get a lot worse. I'm like, I'm having the worst day of my whole life. This is awful. I cannot believe that I volunteered to do this. I can't even get out of it. We're deep in the mountains, and there's nowhere to walk to. I can't ask to get a taxi to come get me. Nothing. I'm stuck like Chuck. So I'm learning. We go through bigger rapids, and I'm digging in. And I'm learning how to wedge my feet and sit the right way and use the paddle to push yourself back in as it gets rough. I'm starting to get a little bit more confident, starting to ease up a little bit, and I feel like I'm starting to have a pretty decent time. And I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess this wasn't so bad. Then we start to approach the biggest rapids that we had seen all day long. These things were insane. And I'm like, what in the world is coming up? All right, everybody. And you could see that he even got serious. Got this serious look on his face. He said, I need everybody. And he starts giving instructions. And we're following instructions. And we're drifting closer and closer to these rapids. Dig in. He's yelling out like a military commander. Dig in. Paddle, paddle, right, left, right. Everybody is just hyper focused. And when we start going through these rapids, it is making the raft do this thing, like pop, 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 pop. It's crazy. And I'm barely holding on. Well, we hit some part of a rapid whatever. When it hit, it made the raft go like that. And it popped. Everybody in the raft up in the air. We're all in the air. I'm looking around, the slow motion. I can see everybody, Bob, all of his friends in the air. I'm in the air. The instructor is in the air. I'm like, this is horrible. We're all going to die. We crash down, land in the water. Now, of course, I'm in survival mode. How do I get out of it? I might pop up, and the rapids are crazy. And I did notice, though, that somehow that instructor is already back in the raft. I don't know how we did it, but I see everybody mostly landed close to that raft, and they're all climbing back in. But I am so far away from that raft. I do not know how I can even get there. I'm in a complete washing machine right now, and it's getting ready to go on spin cycle. This is getting crazy. I look over. Bob's also with me. We are so far away. They're yelling things to us, but it's so loud, we can't hear what they're saying. I think they were yelling, swim. Like, get to the raft. Because they came out of this turbulent section, and they're already in calm water. I'm still in turbulence, and I don't know what's getting ready to happen, but we're in the water, in the rapids. I can't hear them. I look at Bob. Bob's kind of got a concerned look on his face. Bob's been whitewater rafting before, and he's concerned. When I saw that look on his face, I thought, it's time to panic, man. So we come through that little section of rapids that we all landed in, and now we are in the calm water. And I remember they told us, okay, if you got to go down the river, you want to be on your back and your feet out in front of you and your oar in your hand so that you can use your feet to push off of rocks, for crying out loud. That's the instructions they're giving novices. So I'm like, okay, better get my feet. But then I can now hear the people in the raft. They're still way far away. They're drifting beyond what they can control the raft. The river is moving them forward. It's also moving us forward, but we have to close the gap if we can. They're yelling swim. Now, I'm a pretty good swimmer, but when you have a life vest on and your helmet and an oar in your hands and you're wearing tennis shoes, swimming, you're not going to swim fast, but we're trying. Bob and I are both swimming, trying to catch up to this raft, because then I can see beyond that raft, and just beyond that raft is another huge set of rapids. And if we don't make it to that raft, we have to go through those rapids in the water. I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm swimming really, really hard, and we're not closing that gap. They're trying to paddle back to it, but the water's moving too fast. It is beyond hope. And I look at Bob, and I'm like, Bob, are we going to be okay? He said, I don't know. He said, I don't know. I'm like, oh, Bob. So I then get back into, as I see the raft that we're supposed to be in hit the rapids, they are full on let's survive mode. They can't worry about us anymore. We're too far away. We're approaching those rapids. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I saw Bob. Something pushed Bob. I don't know what it was. It was a spirit, a ghost or something, but it pushed him ahead of me. He went into the rapids. And I'm like, oh gosh. So then I lose Bob. He's washed through the rapids. And then I decide I'm going to just get my feet and follow those instructions the best I can. And here I go, funneled right into the middle of these rapids. And it is terrifying. Sometimes you're underwater, and sometimes you're out of water. And sometimes you can't see sometimes, and sometimes you can. And I'm being tossed around. I think I'm hitting every stinking rock in the path. I feel rocks hitting my legs. I feel my arms hitting things. It's horrible. I feel like I'm going to die. And then I see this huge rock. It was majestic. And I was headed right for it. And I decided I'm going to have to hit that rock. But when I hit it, I'm going to live on it forever. I'm going to hold on to that rock. And I'm not going to ever let go. That was my plan. My big plan was to hold. So it washes, tumbles me. I pop up. There's the rock. Bam. I hit it. Boom, like this. And I was able to reach around and hold on with all my might to that rock. That was my plan. The river is smashing me against this rock. I have just a pocket of air because there's so much water. I won't let go of the rock. I'm holding on. I then learned later that these guys are all yelling, let go of the rock. Let go of that rock. I'm like, I'm letting go of this thing. I didn't really know what I was going to do. But at some point, I then realized, I don't think I can really live here much longer. It's time to go. So I let go of the rock. And the water just feels me around that rock and tumbles me and smashes me a few more times. But then I popped out into calm waters. And I'm like, oh, thank the Lord. I almost died. And those guys are all sitting in the raft waiting on me. And they're like, I'm floating toward them. And they paddle and they grab me. I'm exhausted. And they pull me by my vest up out of the river. And I land in the middle of this raft. And I'm like, oh God. I feel like my lungs are full of water. They're not. I feel like somebody beat me up with a baseball bat. That's kind of what it looked like too. I had bruises all over me and cuts in my arms and on my legs. And the guy was like, oh, you made it. Welcome back. He wasn't even concerned. I feel like it's time to call like a helivac company. Or let's get a helicopter out here. Like, I feel like you got to get me on the banks. You got to get me on a stretcher. Like, that's what I feel like. The guy's like, it's time to go, boys. Get on. I'm like, there's no time to recover. So we grab our oars and we go. And mostly uneventful for the rest of the day, except that I'm completely terrified of every rapid we then go through because I don't want to fall out anymore. So we finish up the trip pretty much uneventful. I was just terrified, swearing I'd never do it again. And then Dusty, my now business partner, years later, says to me, we should go whitewater rafting. And I don't know what came over me, but I agreed to go again. So a group of us went back down to the same place. I told them all the story. I almost died the last time this happened. They're like, you're going to be fine. We're making it down the river. Hit a big part of the river. Washed through it just fine. But these guys, my instructor and every other guide out there, decided to do something called surfing. What? It's where you go through the rapids, you loop around, you paddle around this calm part, and then you paddle back up the rapids, and you try to catch the point where it curls over this waterfall, and it's almost moving the water on the top this way and underneath this way. I don't know the science behind it, but everybody's surfing. They're paddling into the rapids, and then they can pull their oars up, and they're just like sitting still. And then they wash out and go on. Well, we're paddling up to go surfing. And I'm like, this is terrifying. This is terrifying. No, I don't want to do it. Don't want to do it. We paddle into the rough part. Boom. Now we're surfing. The waterfall is right in front of us. And I'm saying maybe 4 or 5 foot waterfall, something like that. But it's making enough turbulence to create a condition that you can just surf. Well, we're surfing, but we're also drifting toward the waterfall. And the raft is starting to spin. And there's a guy sitting next to me named Vaughn. Vaughn is now back to the waterfall. My back is to the waterfall. And the guide is trying to straighten us out a little bit to get us away from that waterfall. But before he could, the hand of the devil came out of the waterfall and grabbed Vaughn by the vest. Wham! Pulls him into the water. Ah! I'm like, what just happened? Vaughn's gone. Disappeared. I'm like, we just lost Vaughn, guys. The next thing I know, the hand of the devil came out of the water and grabbed me by the vest. Yank! He yanked me right in the water. And I shot under the raft. And I was like, oh gosh. Now they did train us, and I've been through it twice now. If you end up under the raft, don't panic. You're going to be fine. Just use the raft to crawl your way out and then push off. So I'm under the raft. I'm like, this is terrifying. And I could see, like, people in the raft, I could see their feet pushing downward. And I'm feeling it. I'm like caught up, mesmerized for a second. Then I'm like, oh, I'm about to die. We better get out of here. So I crawled along the bottom of that raft and then just pushed off and bam, popped up. And I was like, oh my gosh, I keep falling out of the raft every time I do this. I can never do this again. So I swore off ever going whitewater rafting again. Now you have it. Hit the like button, everybody. Hit that subscribe button.